Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Dante, and it is a pleasure for me to bring to you the first grammar lesson in Book 6, which deals with the past perfect tense. I hope everyone is ready and prepared. Everyone has their materials, a notebook, a pen, or a pencil, and your attention so that you can all learn how to properly use the past perfect tense. All right, getting started. This is what you will need to know for this lesson. Number one, what is the past tense of have? Does anyone know what the past tense of have is? Okay. Two, what are participles? Okay. What are participles? And three, how do we use punctuation in clauses? Okay. It might be necessary to know what a clause is. And punctuation. Are you familiar with these terms? Let's continue. So today we will study the past perfect tense. We'll also study the past perfect with specific events and times. We will study the past perfect with two past events and study the past perfect with time words and also with adverbs. All right. And finally, we will study how to use the punctuation with past perfect clauses. All right. Now, what is the past perfect tense? Well, if you are looking here, all right, the past perfect equals the past tense of have, which is had, and the participle, right? Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering, well, what exactly is the participle? What are participles? Okay, or V3. Participles are used to make different tenses in English. Okay. Sometimes they end in ed, but many are irregular. All right. You all know what irregular verbs are. Okay. Some might end with ed, some might not end with ed at all. Okay. So how do I learn them? Well, you're gonna have to memorize them because there is no rhyme or reason. There is no formal structure to what the past participle of a specific verb is. However, we have given you some charts to help you learn and memorize these verb tenses. Okay. Okay. Here's a chart of the most common verbs and their participles. All right. If you look here, you will see this is the base verb column. All right. You all know these base verbs: be, beat, become, begin, come, cost, cut, dig, do, draw, drive, drink, eat, fall, and feel. Okay, you all know these are base verbs, right? We put them into the past tense. This column here would be considered verb 2. All right, you see this V3? This V stands for verb. All right, the base verb is verb 1. Past tense verb is verb 2. Past participle is Yes. Verb 3. All right. Past tense. Past tense of be is was and were. Past tense of beat is beat. Past tense of become is became. All right. All of these so far are irregular past tense verbs. Begin, began, came, come, came, cost, cost, cut, cut, dig, dug, do, did, draw, drew, drive, drove, drink, drank, eat, ate, fall, fell, feel, felt. All of these are the past tense. And here in this column is the past participle. For use of the past perfect tense, this is very important. Okay? Past participle of the base verb be is been. Past participle for beat is beaten. Excuse me. The past participle of become is become. Past participle for come is come. Past participle for cost is cost. Cut, cut. Dig, dug. Do, done. Draw, drawn. Drive, driven. Drink, drunk. Eat, eaten. Fall, fallen. And felt, felt. Feel, felt. Okay. Again, in this column, you have your base verbs. Verb 1. In the second column, you have the past tense verbs or verb 2. And in this third column, you have the past participle or the verb 3. All right. So as you read through these, fight, fought, past tense, past participle, fought. Base verb is find, past tense is found, participle, found. Base verb fly, past tense flew, past participle flown. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Forgive, forgave, forgiven. Freeze, froze, frozen. Give, gave, given. Go, gone, go, went, gone. Grow, grew, grown. Hang, hung, hung. Have, had, and had. Yes. Past perfect of have is had. Had, excuse me. So here, heard, hide, hid, hidden, hit, hit, hold, held, hurt, and hurt. Okay. All right, and here are some more common verbs and their participles. Okay, I'll just give you a few minutes to look through these on your own. Keep in mind that this is the column for the base verbs. This is the past tense, and this is the past participle. Okay, so just take a couple minutes to read over these, study them, and I'll come back. Okay. So, I have a question. What is the past participle of the base verb lose? Is it lost? Good. Okay. What is the past participle of the base verb swim? Swum? Yes, swum. Last. What is the past participle of the base verb wake? I'm sorry. Yes, of the base verb wake. Woken. All right, moving on. So, what do we use participles for? Well, the present perfect tense uses the verb has and have plus the participle. All right. For example, students have taken many tests, or the woman has read a lot of books. Okay. This would be the present perfect tense. Has and have are present tense. If we look at the past perfect tense, we use the past tense of have and the participle, right? The teacher had given the students some help. The girl had drawn a lot of pictures. Okay. So we've already learned how to use the present perfect tense. And now we are going to learn how to use the past perfect tense. Okay. All right, past perfect. The past perfect describes something that happened before another past action. Okay, I will read one more time. Past perfect describes something that happened before another past action. Look at these example sentences. I noticed that she had left her books in the classroom. Okay, so this sentence is describing an action that happened before another past event, right? So this something happened, all right? But this happened before this, okay? So for I noticed that she had left her books in the classroom. Okay, so she noticed that someone had left something. So this past event happened before this one. Okay, let's look at number 2. When he came home, his mother had already prepared dinner for him. Okay, so he came home, his mother had already prepared dinner for him, right? Which event happened first? Okay? Did he come home first, or did his mother prepare dinner for him first? Which one of those came first? All right, we'll answer that in a minute. Number 3, the teacher had written everything on the board before the students entered the room. All right. The teacher had written everything on the board before the students entered the room. Okay. Which one of these instances happened first? Okay. Did the teacher write everything on the board, or did the students enter the room first? Which one? Okay. Okay. So let's go back to number 1. Okay, so all of these are the second action. Okay, I noticed that when he came home, before students entered the room. All of them are past actions, right? Okay, let's look at the sentences again. I noticed that she had left her books in the classroom. Okay, so which event happened first? I noticed something, or she left her books in the classroom first? Which one came first? Right, so I noticed would come second, which means she left her books in the classroom. That would have to come first, right? I noticed that she had left her books in the classroom. Okay, meaning the she in this sentence, okay, had gone to that classroom um, sometime before, and she left her books there. And when he came in, he noticed that she had left her books. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, when he came home, his mother had already prepared dinner for him. Okay, so which one of these comes first? He came home, or his mother prepared dinner for him? Yes, he came home is the second. And number one, his mother prepared dinner for him. All right. I want you to look at these sentences and look at this sentence and decide for yourself what event comes first. Okay, I'll give you just a few minutes to look at this and decide for yourself. Okay, which one of these did you decide was first? Teacher wrote everything on the board, and the students entered the room was the second event. Okay, all right, good job. Let's move on. Okay, to show that something happened before a specific time, we use by plus time plus past perfect. Okay? To show that something happened before a specific time, we use by plus whatever the time is plus the past perfect. Okay? For example, by age 3, Sarah had learned how to walk. Another example, by age 10, Ali had already written a book. By age 25, Fatima had bought an expensive Okay, don't forget, by plus time plus past perfect is a clause. So don't forget the comma if it comes first in your sentence. Okay, don't forget the comma, right? If you look here, by age 3, all right, this is a dependent clause, so it needs a comma, okay? Same here. By age 10 is a dependent clause, so it deserves a comma. And same here. By age 25, comma, Fatima had bought an expensive car. All right. Another way to use it would be the past perfect plus by plus time. Okay? So these sentences will basically be written in reverse. Sarah had learned how to walk by age 3. Okay? Ali had already written a book by age 10. Fatima had bought an expensive car by age 25. All right, so notice here that there is no comma because it's at the end of the sentence. Okay, if it is at the beginning, use a comma. Okay. All right, these are the typical time words that you could use plus the past perfect. There's after and as soon as. After she had studied Arabic, she was able to talk more easily with the locals. Okay. As soon as she had started Arabic classes, she felt more comfortable in Hofu. Okay. Notice that the comma is here because this time word makes this a dependent clause. Okay, same here. Okay. Before or by the time plus the simple past, Abdullah had played video games for 3 hours before he went to bed. Okay. So in the dependent clause, Abdullah had played video games for 3 hours before he went to bed. Okay. By the time, Mohammed had studied a lot by the time he graduated from university. Okay, if we were going to use this by the time at the beginning of the sentence, we could say, by the time Mohammed graduated from university, comma, he had studied a lot. Okay. When plus past perfect or the simple past. So Hiba had finished her homework when her parents arrived home. Or Hiba had finished her homework when her parents had arrived home. All right, next, adverbs. Already, just, and never. Okay? As you know, adverbs are used to modify the verb, and these adverbs are meant to modify the past part or the past perfect tense verbs. You have already, which equals happened in the past. You have just, which means happened recently or not long ago. And never, of course, means it didn't happen. Okay? They are used in positive sentences to emphasize or stress the first event. Okay? Remember that in a sentence, they come between had and the past participle, right? For example, they had just eaten dinner. Okay. As you can see here on this timeline, this being the past, this being the present, and this being the future. Okay, you can see that just happens right before the present. Already is in the past, and of course, never is never. Okay, some examples. Jenny had just come inside when it started to rain outside. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, something, okay, sorry. Adverbs, already, just, and never. Jenny had just come inside when it started to rain outside. Okay, so that means she came inside and it immediately started raining. Okay, notice that the adverb is in between the verb and the participle. Okay. Jenny had already finished studying before her friend came over. Okay, it means that she finished studying, then her friend came over, right? Jenny had never tried sushi until she went to Japan. So she went to Japan, then she finally tried sushi. All right. The adverb yet. Yet means something didn't happen, but will probably happen in the future. Okay. For example, I haven't ridden in a hot air balloon yet, but I would like to in the future. Okay. Or I haven't yet ridden in a hot air balloon, but I would like to in the future. Okay. Did you notice the two different possible positions for yet? Can you tell me what they are? Okay, exactly. So yet can go at the end of this clause here, or it can go in between the verb and the past participle. Okay, I haven't ridden in a hot air balloon yet, or I haven't yet ridden in a hot air balloon. Okay, this I think tends to be the most commonly used. Okay, but you can also use it in this way too. All right. And the adverbs ever, right? We use this adverb instead of never in a negative sentence, right? Jenny hadn't never tried sushi before she went to Japan. Okay? This is not correct because these are two negatives. And with two negatives, you create a positive, right? So in this sense, we use ever when we are using the verb in a negative sentence. Okay. Jenny hadn't ever tried sushi before she went to Japan. Same in this example. Dan hadn't never ridden a camel before he traveled to the Middle East. Okay, hadn't never. Never is negative, So is hadn't. These two cancel each other out. We'll create a positive, basically. So when we want to keep it negative, we say Dan hadn't ever ridden a camel before he traveled to the Middle East. Okay. We can also use ever to ask if someone has done something before. For example, have you ever been to Dubai? Or has your brother ever done his homework? Remember, questions with ever are usually in present perfect, not past perfect. Okay, so have is present, and this is the past participle. Okay, present perfect would mean that there's have and past participle. Have you ever been to Dubai? Has your brother ever done his homework? Okay, so the first slide has the questions and the answers are on the next slide. Okay, what happened first? I want you to first look at the sentence, find the two tenses, past perfect and simple past. 3, look at the bolded word. And 4, think about the time of the events. Okay. Before she had gone to KFU, she lived in Riyadh. Okay. So let's look at the sentence, right? Then we need to find the two tenses, past perfect and simple past, right? Then you look at the bolded word, right? Which one is the bolded word? Before is bolded, okay? And then next, think about the time of the events. Before she had gone to KFU, she lived in Riyadh. Okay? So, which event comes first? Exactly. Okay. Okay. Also, number 2, as soon as it had gotten dark outside, they went shopping at the souk. Okay. So, as soon as is the bolded word. You have past perfect and you have the simple past. Simple past would be here, right? Think about the time of the events. So, for number 1, before she had gone to KFU, she lived in Riyadh, right? Which one is the first event? Okay, yes, she lived in Riyadh is the first event. She went to KFU is the second event. 2, as soon as it had gotten dark outside, they went shopping at the souk. Okay, which event is the first? Got dark outside. 2, they went shopping at the souk. All right. Now I want you to take a minute and look at these two sentences. And remember, look at the sentence first. Find the two tenses, simple, past, and past perfect. 3, look at the bolded word. And then 4, think about the time of the events. All right, looking at sentence number 3. After the team had practiced all summer, they were able to win more matches. Okay, so we looked at the sentence. Okay, what are the two tenses? The simple past, were able to. Past perfect, had practiced. Okay, after is the bolded word, and think about the time of the events. Okay, so after the team had practiced all summer, they were able to win more matches. Okay, so what did the team do first? They practiced all summer, and the second event, they won more matches. Okay. 4, because he lives far away, Abdulaziz had already traveled for 2 hours by the time he got to KFU, right? So we're looking at the sentence as we just did. We need to find the two tenses, simple past and the past perfect, okay? Where is the simple past? Okay, he got, yeah. And the past perfect? Yeah, had already traveled. Okay, and what is the bolded word? Yeah, by the time. Okay, and then did you think about the time of the events? Hope you did. All right, so which event happens first? Abdulaziz traveled for 2 hours, or Abdulaziz got to KFU? Yes, Abdulaziz traveled for 2 hours first, then we got to KFU. Okay, just take 1 minute to look at the sentence, find the two tenses, look at the bolded word, and think about the time of the events. Okay. Number 5, they had just finished cleaning the house when their guests arrived. Which one happened first? Yes, they finished cleaning the house, and 2, their guests arrived. Okay, looking at 6, they finished cleaning the house when their guests had arrived. Okay, which event happened first? Guests arrived, and then they finished cleaning the house. Okay. All right. We're going to make a sentence with the given words. Use the chart as an example to help you remember the rules. After Ahmad graduate from KFU, he start a successful business. Okay, so after, oh, sorry about that. All right, so we have after, Ahmad is the subject, graduate is the verb from KFU, he start successful business, okay? 2, as soon as class finish, the students text their friends, okay? Remember that after and as soon as plus the past perfect. Okay, here are some examples here, and I briefly showed you some of the answers, but here goes. After Ahmad had graduated from KFU, he started a successful business. As soon as class had finished, the students texted their friend. All right. Make a sentence with the given words. Use the chart as an example to help you with the rules. All right, did you figure it out? All right, let's look at the answers. Mark had drunk 3 cups of Arabic coffee before he took his exam. The students had felt very tired by the time class was over. Okay. Did you use these examples and this chart below to help you figure out how to correctly write the sentences? I hope you did. All right, again, make a sentence with the given words. Use the chart as an example. Each sentence has 2 possible answers. Remember that, okay? With the time word when, you can use either the past perfect or the simple past. Okay? Just give you a couple minutes to think about these answers. If you need to, you can always write down these in your notebook. Writing down anything will help the practice of learning English a lot better. To mention, this type of thing could be on a test. Okay, let's see if you've come up with the same answers. Okay, the thief had escaped when the police arrived, or the thief escaped when the police had arrived. Okay. Second one, we had started cooking when the guests arrived, or we started cooking when the guests had arrived. All right, which one is correct? Maria hadn't ridden yet a camel. Maria hadn't yet ridden a camel. Maria yet hadn't ridden a camel. Which one? For letter A, B, or C? Okay. Two, Amen hadn't, well, Amen hadn't ever studied for a test is the correct answer. Auntie had already bought a new car. Is the correct answer for this one. Okay. Past perfect practice, fill in the blank with the past perfect form of the verb in parentheses. Okay. Number one, before Stephen did his homework, he blank blank at the library. Two, she blank blank in Sweden before she went to Norway. Three, before the students could start the test, the teacher blank blank their mobile phones from them. Four, after Abdi blank blank his breakfast, he left his house and went to school. Five, Wa'ad quickly tried to fix her glasses because her brother blank just blank them. By the children, I'm sorry, number six, the children covered their ears because the baby blank blank so loudly. Seven, by the time they blank blank at the mall, the shops were closed for prayer. Do you have answers for these? Okay, let's look at it. Had studied, had studied, had lived, had taken, had broken, had screamed, had arrived. Remember, with this adverb here, just is in between had and broken. Okay. All right, gentlemen. ladies, if you're listening. I hope that this presentation was informative. I hope you learned a lot. Stay tuned for grammar part 2.